I was not going to get married the traditional way. So yes, I'm Deepak, and this is my story. I grew up in a very, very happy middle-class Indian family. We were, and we still are a very happy middle-class family. It's not about this. It's not a story about how my family disintegrated. Have you ever met those people who are excessively happy? They're annoying. They're so happy. They have so much serotonin in their system that they make you feel miserable about your own life. Like, why am I not that happy? I was one of those child. I was a child who was happy for no reason. I was just happy to be born, to just exist. I was like, oh my God, this is a blessing. I was just happy, very, very happy. I was my teacher's favorite. I was my parents' favorite. My brother's never going to listen to this video. Yes, I was my parents' favorite. So it went on from there as to, wow, I am just a happy person. Until I hit puberty. So you know how you leave school in summer and then you come back for the next term, but in the middle, puberty's hit you really hard. And you go from, and in my class, the girls and the boys went from, you're gross, to, hello, who are you? But that phase was missing for me completely. I was just like, how, you were friends with him in last class, why are you avoiding him? What's going on with you? Until a boy started flirting with me. That's when my cheeks went red. There were so many butterflies fluttering in my stomach, singing Bollywood songs. I was just so happy. So, yeah, happiness to me returned in the form of, okay, so this is what it means. So you're actually telling him, no, stop, but don't stop. Continue flirting with me, but don't. So all of this was happening. And then that boy who was flirting with me, we kissed. And I died. I died and went to heaven. Absolutely. And trust me, all the way to heaven, there's the Bollywood songs continuing to play. Without any care of when I come back on earth, it's going to be like you're born in India. I don't know how many of you have been to India, but it's a lovely place, just not for gay people. So I go back on earth and the music had stopped and everything. And then I realized that these people that I was pride and joy for, now all I'm going to be for them is a disappointment and a source of dishonor. So the happy teenager that I was talking about started disappearing completely from my life. There was a period of 6 months in my life, right before I turned 18 when I was suicidal. I would just sit at home trying to think how to commit suicide, like how to do it in an easy way, because I was also afraid. So I would sit with razor blades to see, oh, can I slash my wrist? Oh no, it hurts, don't do it. Can I throw myself in a well? Like, I was just looking for wells to throw myself, and I was like, no, it's too dirty, it smells too much. Don't do it. This is someone who wanted to die. I remember this one particular June afternoon in India. When I say June afternoon, I don't mean 23, 29 degrees when we all get very happy. It's 42 degrees. And I was born right, like my house was next to train tracks. So I went to the train tracks and I was like, yes, today, this is it. I am going to commit suicide. The train tracks were really hot. So I went there. But thanks to the Indian Railway scheduling, the train was late. But I wonder, what if the train wasn't late? What if it came on time? On my way back home, I kept thinking to myself that, you're such a wimp, you couldn't even commit suicide. And then another thought that came to my head is like, if the train was on time, not only would I have died, I would have killed my mother as well. She wouldn't have survived. Very few parents remain the same after their kid's death. So I was like, okay, I need to rethink all of this. And this is, imagine a teenager thinking about these things. It's not this person standing in front of you. A teenager can only feel the shape of the problem, has no idea of the source or the solution of the problem. No grip on why is he feeling the way he is, simply for being who he is. He never chose it. Then one afternoon, one of my English teachers gave us a homework to do, and we had to look up, we had to sit with dictionary because these are the times before the internet. I am young, I know, but these are the times before the internet when, so I was looking up and I chanced upon the word gay in the dictionary. And that was the first place that I read the description of the word gay. Which men? Men who are attracted to other men emotionally and romantically and sexually. That was the first time I was like, that's me. That's me. My identity, my existence was defined in a non-judgmental way. I suddenly felt I was part of this whole. Like, I wasn't the only gay in the village. I wasn't. And then that afternoon changed something in me. It was, imagine, Oxford Dictionary saving my life. How British do you want me to be? Then I spent a lot of time just struggling with my sexuality and meeting up people who knew a little bit more about sexuality than I did, and gathered courage with their help and came out to my parents. I came out to my parents, and my parents are, if I made you meet my family, I would have to convince you they're my family. I was so nervous, I couldn't even speak my own mother tongue. I had to speak in English. I just couldn't speak my mother tongue. So I was like, how do I tell them that I like a man's body? Like, sexually, how do I tell? We never talk about sex. In India, we just do a lot of it. We just don't talk about it. How do you get to be the second largest population in the world? So I went right to my British education and went the most circuitous way about it and said, Mother, for me, a man's mind and a man's body is far more interesting than a woman's mind and a woman's body. And hence I stayed in closet for the next 2 years because they had no idea what I was talking about. All that my dad said was, you don't want to get married to a woman, is that what you're telling me? I was like, that's part of it. That's part of it. But they took another 2 years. They were largely in silence, dealing with their pain and love for me. I think what was the most interesting part of it all was that my parents were true to both the pain that they felt and the love that they felt for me. They never denied one over the other. And that's what made the whole journey very, very interesting. Then I started dating someone. And I think my parents saw me for the first time really happy, like, wow, okay, so he's not fighting with us anymore. He's gone back to being the happy person he used to be. Happiness used to be my default, and it is my default. If nothing bad's happening, I just go back to being happy and annoying. My parents came over to Mumbai. I was living in Mumbai at that time. So we went to a beach with the boy I was dating at that time. And I don't know what was I doing. My mom and dad started walking with him ahead of me. I don't know where I was. They went and took a Polaroid picture with him. And when nobody was around me, my dad comes to me and hands me the picture. Doesn't speak a word, does not have the vocabulary. But just giving that picture to me was his masculine, straight way of saying, I love you, but I don't understand you. And that was enough for me. Sometimes we may not all have the vocabulary to understand people, and that's okay. That's okay. I don't understand a lot of people. But the will to love was present. But not every gay person in India or even in Canada is that lucky. So I stand here in front of you telling you a story of what happens when you may not know things about things that are different, but you still have the will to love. Thank you very much.